And welcome back to the Morning Update Show. I'm your usual host, Omari Salisbury. Today, I am happy to bring on Omari Salisbury. How are you doing today, Big O?
Hey, it's good to be here. Thank you for inviting me
Oh,
on
yeah, no,
to
of
the
course, of
morning
course.
update show. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. It's been a rough week. I'm here every day and night, just in the studio getting the show ready with the team and stuff. So, I'm happy you get to see what we be working on here.
All right. So I'll tell you this: what a difference a year makes, though, is a year ago around this time, you were on the morning update show, and you were on the morning update show with Chief Best. And later on that day, Chief Best resigned,
Yeah.
announced her retirement from the Seattle Police Department. But what a difference! Let's go back there though. What a difference a year makes. 1 year ago, when you were working on the morning update show, we were in the middle of the Seattle protests, and we were doing this show from the chop.
Yeah, no, it was I would say that was the best learning experience I could have out of anything I've experienced in school. Because right now I'm going to school for multimedia journalism, and you learn all this book smart stuff about how proper procedure and stuff works. But like when you're doing like a live show every day in the middle of like the chop, I don't even know what to call that, but like it was definitely the best learning experience I've had so far.
All right, good stuff. Tell everybody how's school going? Well, we haven't had you on as much this
Oh yeah,
summer, because we just been busy. But
yeah.
how's school going? Is this going into your junior year now?
Yeah, no, going into my junior year, still got the same major, multimedia journalism. I picked up a minor though in women's gender studies, so that should be interesting. On track to graduate, so that is exciting. It's kind of scary though. Like I'm like last time I was in school, I was a freshman. Now I'm a junior. Like that's actually really scary to think about. Now just a whole new environment. So I'm excited though. Back in the classroom, a lot more things to learn. But I feel like Converge is like my own like personal school in a way where I got like a personal heads up on everybody else in class because like I'm really seeing how things work. And realistically, it's like we're not going to be in the perfect situation that they teach you in class. Like, oh, we're in the studio, you got right lighting, you got all your equipment working, you got a whole system that's just doesn't have to be broken down and set up all the time in the middle of the show. Like, I think it was like earlier this week we had to switch out a whole computer, and it's like, dang.
Yeah, during the intro and everything.
Yeah,
right?
no. So it's like, we really be doing this here.
So one thing for sure, and this is good to learn at a young age, and this is why we got all these young people in here directing and producing, is we be around a lot of like technical crises. And I mean, learning the best thing I think you could do is really be in a space where, some things might be melting down, but everybody is calm.
That's the key. We
Right.
always be calm here.
Right. And just to be calm and to figure it out, and though that's something that's going to go with you maybe your whole career. It's like, okay, we see an issue here. Let's take a deep breath. Let's try this, try that, try this, try that. What were some of you were here for a lot of interesting stuff that we did this summer as well. We did the live stream over there at T-Mobile Park, Baseball Beyond Borders, with Buki Gates and Dan Wilson. You were at the Paramount. You were at Liberty Bank Building. You were at Capitol Hill. I mean, what are some of your best memories?
I see them all as like memories, but also just like learning experiences. Like when we were in the Paramount, we learned a lot about sound because we were having a lot of issues when it came to syncing up audio. Because that was the first time where we had like two completely separate setups for two completely different things because we had the live performances, and every single day we were learning something new from the whole Paramount team. So I think the Paramount was definitely a dope experience to me. But then even like a few weeks back, me and Jake, we went down to like San Francisco for GTFO. And then even that, it was just like, dang, I've never like really traveled I've never traveled in the US just to like just experience something. Like we travel somewhere just to like go to Pinnacles National Park. Like we've never done that. Like we travel and we go chill, we relax, we're sitting on the beach, we're getting like coconuts and stuff. But like it was nice to like go travel, almost die in like 100-degree hike, seeing giant like vultures, birds of prey. Like it was a whole like different experience right there. And even then, in like being in the Liberty Bank building with Cuddy, it's like it was just me and him. It was just me and him doing a whole show that usually should take like 5 people at least. So it was like really like just being there figuring it out.
What's it like hanging out with Grab Brock?
Oh, bro, Jake's cool. I swear, Jake's the best. It's a whole different perspective on everything. Hanging out with a photographer, they see things differently because not only do like they see it, but they also trying to see it as like an image and capture it. So hanging out with Jake gives you a whole different perspective on like how he like physically, visually like sees things. Because like he'll turn anything to art. Like he'll see something like, oh yeah, this will be dope, and I'm like, I don't really see it, and then he does it. You're like, whoa, like you're really like a master of your craft.
Let's go back to Chicago. Now, people really tuned in to see you when Struggle Meals Without the Struggle. And I remember it was there, moved you into the apartment. That was a nice segment. I was out in Chicago. Struggle Meals Without the Struggle. Oh, and one of the most viewed episodes is when you told us that you started a fire in the kitchen. And so many people, they were like, man, they wanted to send you gift. What is it? The pack.
Care package.
A care package.
Still accepting those.
You still accept. You had lots of suggestions.
If anybody want to send me food, snacks, blankets, anything you want to send me, I will accept. I am a college student, man. I be eating ramen noodles for dinner some days.
But this is what I'm saying is it was struggle meals without the struggle, and clearly you ran into some struggle. And then your roommate's mom like blessed you guys with like, you know what I'm saying? You stocked up everything. Then next thing matter of fact, it was going so good for you. You was kind of like, we need to change the name from Struggle Meals Without the Struggle to We Feasting.
Yeah, no, we was feasting. Oh my God. Cause my roommate was, I said his auntie would come by and just drop off like giant tubs of rice. Like just giant tubs of rice, and I'd be like, okay, man. Like we would eat that rice for like, I'm not gonna lie to you, like probably like a week and a half. We would just have rice. And when you don't gotta cook rice for every single meal every day, you just got some rice ready to go. You get some chicken, you get a rotisserie chicken from Costco, chop it up, throw it in there with the rice. Get some hot sauce. Sometimes this chicken's not seasoned right, so you go get some Johnny's, right? But like my mom obviously sent me to school with some Johnny's because they don't have that. And, if y'all not in Washington, you don't know about Johnny's. You should know about Johnny's. You just throw some Johnny's on something, it's good. Cool.
Yeah, I think that like Johnny's and Red Hot are essentials for me.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm turning around. You ain't got no Red Hot? Nah, I'm good.
Like what hot sauce you got? I'm judging you harshly based on what you got in your cabinet.
So new apartment. Are you gonna be cooking more? You went through a phase there where you were sending pictures like, "Ooh, I just made spaghetti."
Oh my God, that spaghetti was terrible. I forgot to tell you, dog.
Okay, that truth comes out. It's like 2 years later.
Garbage. Truth comes out. I had to throw that spaghetti away. That spaghetti was terrible. Like the noodles, I don't know. I'm used to my nana's cooking, so I be following the recipe. But like that spaghetti was. I'm gonna try to cook more. You got to save money and stuff out here. But also, like I live a block away from Chipotle and Cane's, so we'll see. Like when push comes to shove.
What's it gonna be like going back to school now? Is it a normal campus environment now?
No, I believe because like a few weeks ago they announced before we were gonna not be able to have to wear masks, but college kids and they're being inconsiderate and stuff. It was like I think like the same day as Lollapalooza, which is the giant music festival. They were like, yeah, mask mandate, all that stuff is back. So I mean, it is what it is. It's about a safety thing. I be seeing kids be like, oh, this sucks. Why we got to do this? It's like, bruh, y'all went to a whole music festival with thousands of people. What do you think was going to happen? So it doesn't really, but it is what it is. We'll get through it. Hopefully, it's all about human action society. If we're going to really bunker down and try to get through this or not. So,
right. Are you going to be back in the classroom?
Yeah, that's the plan. All my classes are back in the classroom. But I know some people, there's still people who have online classes. Sometimes they're online. Like they'll have a class that's once a week online, then once a week in person. So it's really everybody's trying to figure it out. There's no rules for this. There's nothing really set. I'm fully aware that my school has no idea what they're actually doing. That's what it is. That's what you learn when you get to college. Bruh, nobody knows what they're doing. Not even your the school you pay thousands of dollars to. They don't really know what they're doing. You can't really be mad at them though. No one knows what they're doing. The government doesn't even know what they're really doing. We're all just drifting out here. So, the plan is to get that degree, make it out. Hopefully, I just want to walk in person. That's all I really hope for.
Yeah.
I really want to have an actual ceremony. I've seen some people and it's just I just know that would mean the world to my mom, my grandma, to y'all, really see me walk in person.
Yeah, no, it would. I mean, graduation, it's almost like family. It's a family reunion.
Yeah. So I feel for those people who didn't really get to have their family be there and watch them walk. That was a lot of people. That was everybody. like last year. No one got to actually see their kids walk. That's like it sucks. So, I just hope that y'all get to see me walk across that stage.
So let me ask you this, what are some of your biggest take? You talked about, you learned some things, and we talked about some of the places that we were on remote this summer. But what are some of your biggest takeaways you think from your experience this summer?
Biggest takeaways. Let's see. I will say I learned a lot about lighting this summer. Shout out to Steve Hickey. Appreciate you, Steve, aka Batman. I learned a lot about like how lighting and everything works. I don't know why, because like last summer it was more about the producer side of things, cameras, angles, and that stuff. But this summer I really learned a lot, like an insane amount about lighting. But also I feel like, you were getting on me and Curtis every day about like, yeah, just do something, go out and create something, just do it. I got the resources here for you guys, just do it. So, I think that changed my whole mindset towards everything. It's like, yeah, you just got to go out here and just do it. Let's just do this. Let's make something happen. Let's create something. And then if it's bad, it's bad. We can go back to the drawing board and make something better, But there's no reason not to do anything, especially right now where we have all these resources to help us. I've seen you do stuff with just an iPhone, and now it's like we got all of these cameras and stuff, and you still just be out there rocking it with the iPhone. So there's no excuses. Like the hoodie says, there's no excuses not to be doing nothing. That's my biggest takeaway. No excuses. I feel like me personally, I have no excuse to not be successful. So it's just like there's no excuses out here for anything.
Yeah, no.
Because like I've seen you and mom do it. Y'all got this. Like, bro, if you look at where Converge was a year ago and then a year before that, it's like you made it work. You got it through. I'm in school right now. I got all this stuff at my fingertips and resources. I got no excuse, period, to not be great. Like that's just how I see it. And I remember there was a week when we were at the Paramount, my dad was getting on me because I was being hard on myself because I messed up while producing one of the Paramount shows. I don't know if y'all noticed it was a Friday or so. We were understaffed, in my defense. But there was a lot of times where I could have done certain things better with the cameras and the angles. And he's like, oh, you got to stop being so hard on yourself. He was talking about how there's a lot of times in his life where he's been hard on himself and it wasn't really necessary. But to me, it's like the reason why I'm like that is because there's no excuses to me. It's like, because I've seen you succeed, I can also succeed. And if something's on me, I'm gonna make sure it's great. So it's like I personally like take this whole no excuses thing to like heart. Shoot, it's tattooed on my arm right here. No excuses. Like,
your mama seen that tattoo?
I mean, I be wearing hoodies a lot. Boy,
she don't seen it.
You see, it stops at my. It's like right here. It's like right here. It's the perfect like top mark.
Well, I think that it's important. I always like to tell young people and tell you that, man, there's so many. The reason why they're like one of the reasons why we here right now is that you do go and then you fail and then you pick yourself up and you learn from those failures. You learn from that. I mean, the worst thing can happen is you just don't learn from something. As your uncle Joseph Kusaga says, like he burned his hands on so many things. Especially being the first trying to do some stuff, and you burn your hands, so then the people who come behind you, they don't have to. They're like, yo, okay, we know this or that. But you already know them long flights back between here and we were living in Abu Dhabi and here in Tanzania, and some of them flights home, you might not have realized that some of them flights back home to Seattle is because something failed. We gotta go back home. And you fail on a grand stage and you fail on a global stage and you come back home and you pick yourself up all over again. But I agree with you that the overarching theme is no excuses. Is that, man, we're going to find success. We're going to stay at it. We're going to keep pushing ourselves to do something big. Any plans after school?
Nah, not as of right now. There's a lot of things in the work, a lot of things I'm working on. Always working on things. But hopefully that all plans out for me. If not, then we're right back to it, trying to figure something out. Eventually, sometime down the line, is to come back to Converge. But, hopefully I got a lot more life experiences ahead of that.
Life experiences, huh?
Yeah.
Well, don't let one of them life experiences be working for the man when you can come and work for the fam.
Got you. Oh no, actually, I'm trying to move to New York. I feel like New York's somewhere I want to experience. So that's where my head's at for after school. I'm trying to live in New York.
All right. Well, we plugged in out there.
Yeah.
Well, we plugged in out there more than we do out here. Well, man, I appreciate you taking the time, son. I appreciate your work this summer. You know, a lot of people might not realize is that Converge is 5 years old now, and but a lot of the stuff that we were doing is we created content for other platforms, right? So it was white label content and everything else. And we did some stuff in the technology space, but our whole job was to make other brands or organizations shine because I mean that was the only way to get on. Um, and when COVID hit, what was that? I guess it was a year, 18 months ago now, however much it was, March of last year. Came home from school, from Loyola, and he was like, "Yo, man, why you put this Converge on the shelf? How come it ain't out front? This is what you wanted to do. This is your vision. Why are you basically pushing everybody else's brand, making them great, and you're not pushing yourself?" I was like, well, I don't have no money to push myself, but it was real instrumental in being like, nah, man, we need to put Converge back out front, Dad, and that's what we did. This way our brand, like nobody. That's why people think that we're only a year or a year and a half old or started around COVID or the protest. This is an old company, well, relatively speaking. And this is something that we used to talk about when we were living in Abu Dhabi. Me and we would talk about Converge and this and that, and it was just it was an idea. And so was the one who encouraged me, like, Dad, man, you need to pull this Converge out, man, dust it off, and let's ride it till the wheels fall off. And it's probably the best advice I've had in years, son.
I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, it's like I've spent majority of my life watching you do stuff for other people, and that's like you're a good person. That obviously makes sense. It's always right, but it's like it's at a certain time you got to learn how to be selfish and like do something for yourself. Like my dad didn't even want to put his name on the marquee when we were at the Paramount. I'm like, nah, Dad, when are you gonna be back at the Paramount? You better put your name up there. Like, come on. Also, that's my name, so like I would also like to see my name up there too. So but it's like it's all my whole life I've seen you doing all this stuff for other people, and it's like no one even knows, no one remembers. It's like everybody got to make sure they know who Omari Walden Salisbury is. Make sure you leave your mark on the Central District, on Seattle. Make sure everybody's fully aware of the greatness that you've done. Because man, people be like, oh, what was your dad doing all those years in Tanzania? It's like, bro, he's done so much. I can't even fully explain it to you. I don't even know everything. Like there's so much stuff. I find out new stuff anytime I talk to my Uncle Rashid. So it's like it's time to make sure people know the things that you're doing and what you're accomplishing.
Well, I appreciate you, son.
Of course.
And I'm proud of you. That's where you say something else.
Okay. My bad. Okay. I'm proud of you, man. This is dope. This is cool. This is cool. I be going places and people be like, oh, aren't you Omari's son? I be like, yes, I am. I prefer being known for Converge more than just being known as your son, though, because that really makes me sound like, oh man, y'all know what Converge is? Like that's dope, because tons of people know who you are. But it's like when people be like, oh yeah, you work with your dad on Converge, right? I be like, yes. I be like, yes, you guys are we're spreading. People are knowing about us. This is good. Like I was at work the other day. I work in an ice cream shop. It was my last day yesterday. So if y'all wanted free ice cream, you missed out. But somebody came in, they were like, Omari? I was like, yeah. He's like, yeah, I watched the morning show with your dad. I be hearing about you. I was like, that's so cool to me. Like to see people who are really tuned in with us or really tapped in and watching us, seeing what we're trying to do. So, that's so dope.
Good stuff, son. And I mean, we're gonna miss you in a few different ways here. We're gonna miss you on the set because you definitely add value every day here on the Morning Update Show and other productions. And so I'm gonna miss you in the business sense, and I'm gonna miss you in the sun sense.
Yeah, okay. Just making sure.
Me and I got it was too many pictures to even put together. We got pictures of me and O was 3 years old. He was over in Tanzania, 5-6 years old.
Bar.
You weren't supposed to throw in the bar part.
Oh my bad.
That wasn't me. That was your Uncle Rashid. But I mean, O literally went with me all over the world to TV and radio stations all over the world. I got pictures of him. He's like 9 years old in that voiceover studio in Abu Dhabi, and we're down in like Kenya. We'd be in TV studio, we'd be shooting stuff, and you literally been every step of the way. And so when you leave, I always feel some kind of way, but I know that I'll be out there in Chicago soon to come see you.
No, it's cool to come back and just see like how much things change. Like right now, I'm in the studio while it's under construction. I know when I come back next, it's gonna be all. We're gonna have the whole like wall up. We're gonna have this things me and Curtis are working on. I'm not gonna spoil it for y'all. It's gonna be dope, but it's gonna be completely different. And it's like I'm excited to leave and come back just to see how much more your like things are gonna change and improve.
All right, good stuff. Do we have a wide today? Let's see what this wide's looking like. Well, not too bad. We can clear. I'm about to say we can clearly tell who the better looking of the two is sitting right over here. Appreciate you, O.
Of course.
We're going to take a quick break right now. When we come back, part of Julius Caesar's Laugh Rehab, we're going to be joined by Ralph Porter. There it is. Look at Ralph. Ralph looking good right there.
Right.
That good comedy money. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You're watching the Morning Update Show.